Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. I've only got a small little window to do the podcast today. My wife is going to be back soon, and I've got gigs all night, and she's going to do some fucking exercise or yoga or some shit. So I have to look after the kids before I go to the gig, and this gig always goes fucking late, so I won't have time to get home, do the podcast, release it and all that before my scheduled time of release. The time that I said to myself that I'm never going to break, which I've already broken a few times this year, which is 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know why I chose that, but I get these windows every now and then where I can do whatever I want for like 8 or 9 minutes, but I feel like I waste them. So today I'm going to try and squeeze in the potty, and I'm going to do a Boyle Breaks history, which I fucking really haven't researched. That was one of my other goals for this year. It was to make this podcast better. I'm going to start researching Boyle Breaks history. And since I've written down that goal, I have researched less than ever. Pretty much all my goals have gone that way. Everything that I wrote down that I've set myself as a goal has gone backwards. It's like I'm rebelling against my goals. I'm like, fuck you. You think I'm going to fucking achieve something? Suck my dick. I'm not achieving anything. Who am I rebelling against? Tell me that. Maybe for me, writing down goals is the wrong thing to do. I need to fucking have my goals in some compartment in my mind that my subconscious can't access, and they just seep in. Or I just float and see where I land. And I don't want to research the Boyle Breaks histories more because I want to educate people. I want to research them more because they're easier to do when you know what the fuck is going on. It's like that thing, you got to know the rules to break the rules. Which is true, you have to fucking know the rules to break them. That's why that fucking Stephen King book, Stephen King wrote this fucking book called On Writing by Stephen King, How to Become a Writer, whatever the fuck it is. But one of the things he said in it was, don't try and improve your vocabulary. And I'm like, are you fucking retarded, Stephen King? Don't improve your vocabulary if you want to become a writer. But his point was, simple language is better to use than complex language. But that's still dumb fucking advice. You can choose not to use complex words. You can just write simply. Just choose to write simply. If you have no vocabulary, you're limiting yourself to sounding like a fucking retard. Know all the words and just choose not to use some of them. It's so fucking dumb. I get it all the time because my vocabulary isn't very good. Like, it's okay at best. But a lot of the times, I'll have a thought in my head and I understand the thought, but I don't have the fucking word to transfer that thought into speech. So I'll stutter and say some fucking dumb shit, or I just won't say anything at all. I'll panic and I'll go, I don't know the word for what I'm thinking. And instead of saying the beautiful thought that's in my mind, I end up saying some shit like, yeah, you know what a fucking, you know the fucking, you know what I fucking mean? The thing of, the thing. And so you end up sounding like more of a fucking retard. And that's what annoys me the most. I'll have like this beautiful fucking idea in my head and I just want to fucking tell the world about it. And then as I'm going to speak, as my lips open to speak, I realize I don't have the vocabulary or the verbal dexterity. Yeah, fuck yeah. See? I've been practicing. I need to practice. This whole podcast today was for me to say verbal dexterity. But I don't have the fucking verbal dexterity to finish my fucking thoughts. So most of the time, I'll say half a sentence, realize I'm way over my head, and then just stop talking. I won't even finish the fucking sentence. That's why I say fucking cunt a lot, because it gives me that split second to find a fucking word to continue with. But anyway, what was the fucking point of this? Break the rules, don't break the rules. Who's breaking the rules? I've got like 3 minutes left of this fucking window. Let's start Boyle Breaks history. Alright, Boyle Breaks history this week is on a subject very close to my heart. It's prohibition in the US. I don't know if any other countries did prohibition. Maybe Saudi Arabia. There's a listener from Saudi Arabia. What the fuck are you doing? And if you're one of the princes, bring me over. I'll do a fucking gig in front of you and your tiger. Just me, you and your tiger. And there's listeners in the Cayman Islands as well. Bring me over. Use some of that fucking laundered money. Bring me over. I'll do a gig on your fucking super yacht. But anyway, back to prohibition in the fucking US, which was a fucking disaster. So prohibition all sort of started around the late 1800s, 1874, when a bunch of bitches who were sick of their husbands getting drunk and beating them up got together and started the Women's Christians Temperance Movement. They went all around the country protesting, getting people to stop fucking drinking, complaining and nagging. That's what they did. They went around the country fucking complaining and nagging. So anyway, they were big for a while, but eventually they had to go back to cooking and cleaning. So the next group of prohibitionists to pick up the slack from the temperance movement was the Anti-Saloon League. This was led by a guy named Wayne Wheeler. And this guy is your typical, I don't know, like movie dork. Movie like maybe principal. He's got a bald head, he's got glasses, he's got a moustache. He fucking never got invited to a party ever in his entire fucking life, this cunt. Look him up. Anyway, this weasel fucking hated alcohol. Just fucking loathed it for some reason. It was his life's work to get it fucking banned. Thought it was the devil's juice, which it is a little bit. A bit. So this cunt, Wayne Wheeler, and the Anti-Saloon League, they use propaganda and pressure politics and bribery and corruption to influence the people and politicians into prohibition. So they were doing a pretty good job at it. The people were starting to go, yeah, maybe we do need prohibition. Doctors were fucking prescribing whiskey. That's where they were at in the States at that time. The States were fucking booze hounds back then. Apparently they drank like 3 times more than they drink now. Fucking pussies now. I keep forgetting this is a quitting alcohol podcast. But anyway, a lot of people were jumping on the prohibition bandwagon. And then there was World War I. America was fighting Germany in World War I. And there was a lot of anti-German sentiment. There was a lot of anti-German sentiment about 30 years later as well. Anyway, there was a lot of anti-German sentiment. And Germans were considered the fucking booze hounds. And some of the biggest brewers in America were Germans. So the Anti-Saloon League, led by Wayne Wheeler, made it seem like if you were drinking alcohol, you were a fucking German. You were a traitor to the US of A. So they got a massive kick out of World War I. But still, the American government didn't want to pass the prohibition laws because taxes on alcohol made up about 40% of the government's revenue. And that's a lot of fucking tax. So this Wayne Wheeler guy came up with a fucking plan and helped lobby for the creation of a new income tax on the American people. This fucking little weasel. One fucking weasel. And it fucks the whole country. For years. Forever. So not only did he want to ban alcohol, he wanted to fucking tax you as well. Your income to get it banned. Jesus Christ, I hate this cunt. Wait till you see him. He's exactly that fucking kind of guy who would do this as well. So they brought in the income tax, and then the Constitution of the United States of America was amended, the 18th Amendment to the Constitution, prohibiting alcohol. And then, I didn't really know this, but when you change the Constitution, you need to have a law to enforce the new amendment to the Constitution. So the new law that came in was called the Volstead Act. And it was written by none other than this little fucking Wayne Weasel Wheeler. And the act said the sale and manufacture of intoxicating liquor is now prohibited. And they defined intoxicating liquor as anything above 0.5% alcohol. Not even 1% alcohol. So your fucking rum cake's gone. Everything's gone. And even the prohibitionists, when they saw that, were like, fuck, what have we done? They thought they were going to be able to keep beer. They thought it was just going to be banning hard liquor. But everything was gone. But there was a loophole in this law. You couldn't sell or manufacture alcohol, but you could consume it. So drinking it was still fucking sweet. You just couldn't sell it or make it. So cunts were like, I'm still thirsty. Where the fuck am I going to get booze from? And to cut a long story short, that's where the mafia came in. Al Capone and his fucking crew came in. They took over Chicago. There was a lot more to it than that. Speakeasies open. Everyone was drinking. Cops were drinking. Everyone was still fucking drinking. And the mafia and the gangs or whoever fucking was looking after the booze, wherever they were, there were different bootleggers in different parts of the US. Al Capone's one of the most famous ones. And I think JFK's dad was fucking a bootlegger as well. I'm going to do an episode on JFK's dad. I forget what his name is, fucking Jack Kennedy or something. But once the bootleggers got involved, crime fucking skyrocketed. They had so much money, they could pay off all the police, all the judges. Then the bootlegging gangs, the mafias would fucking fight each other, so there was violence in the street. Fucking shit hit the fan everywhere. Nothing was regulated. It was the roaring 20s. Everyone was having a good time. There was blood, there was murder. Men and women started drinking together in these speakeasies for the first time. The 20s must have been the first time you could go out to bars and just get laid. Because women weren't at bars until Prohibition. They weren't allowed at bars. Guys would just get down to some good old-fashioned fucking drinking and jerking each other off without the annoying wife fucking poking her head in. Anyway, you know what happened with the bootlegging. It all became fucking crime. And in Boyle Breaks history, whenever we get to the part where I go, and you know what happened, that's where there's a massive hole in my research. You know what happened. Fucking cunts started killing each other, and I don't know, there was some speakeasies, and there was a picture of some police pouring some kegs down the thing. You know what happened. So yeah, eventually with all the crime and all that sort of shit, Prohibition became very fucking unpopular, and then the Great Depression hit, and everyone was like, fuck you. No one gave a fuck about Prohibition anymore. Then FDR became president of the US, and you know what happened. You know what happened next. He pretty much ran a let's get fucked up campaign. Let's get on the fucking sauce, cunts. And he got elected, and in 1933, I think it was, he ended Prohibition with the 21st Amendment to the US Constitution, the Let's Hit the Fucking Piss Amendment. Alright, that is another installment of Boyle Breaks history. For those of you who are new to this podcast, yes, this is a quitting alcohol podcast somehow. It's not all about celebrating booze, but most of it is. Fuck you. Alright, that's it from me tonight. I'll see you the fuck later.